It's the Playhouse Podcast with Kat and JJ.
Believe it. I missed everything.
Missed the show?
What am I going to do?
Check out the Daily Podcast.
You claim you're a friend, but does that mean you should tell your best friend that the person they're dating is not good looking? Hang tight for this a little bit later on in the podcast. Here we go. Well, we've had Emily on hold for the better part of 10 minutes because we said, you got to explain to people why you're going by a different name. And again, a lot of times when we get hit up for a scenario, especially for our OPP segment, people are like, I've got this going on in my life. And we know just a quick brush stroke of what it is. And once we dig a little bit deeper, but we do know it has to do with her changing her name. So can you tell everybody kind of what's going on here in your life?
Sure. So about 8 years ago, I moved here. And in that move, I decided to change my name. I had a bit of a checkered past in my youth, and I just wanted a clean slate. So I have a new name, new identity, but I've been seeing someone for a while, and it's getting pretty serious. And I'm conflicted on whether I should tell him my real name or just kind of stay with the person that I am now, because I feel like that's the person that he knows. But it also feels like I'm keeping this big secret, and I feel really conflicted about it.
If we looked up your real name, would we be able to see your record in wherever it was you moved from?
I feel like if you did some real, like, FBI deep dig, you could probably find it. But I've done a pretty good job of clearing out my history, other than maybe what could have been reported or in the news.
So we all make mistakes. We all move on from them. And you feel like without being completely honest with this guy, you're not going to be able to have a really cool future?
It feels like I am not fully myself if he doesn't know all of me, including my name.
And I think he'll appreciate that. Why wouldn't somebody want to be with someone that's honest? And you know what? If you do divulge this, and it's not like you live that life anymore, and he doesn't want to be with you, then you got to move on. There are many other people that you could possibly be with.
I don't know. I don't think I'm on the other side of this. I'm like, if you made a fresh start when you moved here, I don't think there's any reason to live in the past. I would leave that all behind you. But there is the chance that, let's say you get married, you have kids down the line, you do some kind of whatever, and something comes out about your past. Like, how do you tackle that then? How do you say, I'm a completely different person? Well, but you're really not a different person. So now I'm conflicting myself. So this is kind of a good one. Let's throw this out to our audience and see what they think, because I'm going to guess most people are going to say be honest with them, but I don't know if I feel that way. So hang on a quick second. I'm going to put you on hold. We'll see what people think, okay?
Okay.
Jessica, thoughts on this?
So there's a couple factors that are definitely dependent on my opinion on this, but generally speaking, I'm leaning more towards her not telling him, just because there's a reason why she changed it and is trying to remove herself from that. And also, I don't know her situation, but she should definitely talk to a therapist and get their point of view on this, because we don't know her situation and what she left behind.
Mm-hmm.
So
it didn't sound that serious to me. It sounded like maybe, dumb teenage things, or maybe you got in a little trouble with the law, but probably nothing you went to prison for.
But what if she changes it, right? She changed it, and then she still goes by that. As long as he knows the past, it's not like he's going to start calling her previous name,
It sounds like, to me, though, it sounds like she's going by the current name that she changed it to.
Yep, that's what she is,
I can't assume those things. That's what I'm saying, though, is that if she is trying to not run away, but trying to kind of get away from that past, then I'd highly suggest just sticking to it. Once you make that big step, especially removing yourself from a different location, changing your name and everything, you're really undoing all that work.
No, I'm not saying change your name back. I'm saying tell him that's what you did.
I know, but you're undoing it by telling him.
Yeah, you're right.
Oh, no, I don't think so.
Changing your name and going through all that. And also, that's what I was getting to, too, is that how long has she been in this relationship? What does she consider serious? Has she been only with this guy for a couple months or a couple years?
And that would make a difference to you? A couple of months you wouldn't tell him, but a couple of years you would?
That's what I'm saying. It just depends on what situation she's trying to get away from.
Yeah, I guess the levity of it. Yeah, I got you. All right. Hey, thanks, Jessica. I really appreciate your thoughts. I want to get Dean on the radio. Morning, Dean. How are you?
All right.
Good. We are too. Thanks for asking. What do you think about this?
I think she should tell him either way. If it's small and not a big deal, then, then it doesn't matter. But, what if it is, what if they get married, have kids, And then he finds out 10 years ago she used to be like a porn star. It's like, great, now my wife and the mother of my kids ran through more than a sprinkler.
Oh, my God, you're rude. No one ever focuses on the guys that are in porn.
Jesus.
It's always the women that are the target. Oh, my God. I got your number, man. I got your number.
I don't know if I've ever heard that one before. Dean, thank you. I appreciate your thoughts. I got time for one more. That spiraled out of control very quickly. Hi, Hannah. How are you?
I'm doing good. How are you?
At least somebody else found the humor in that. Have you ever heard that phrase before?
I mean, considering that when you apply for American citizenship, one of the questions asks if you're a prostitute. I mean, I guess it's valid, but I mean, still.
Have you been through this? Did you apply for citizenship?
I have filled out the paperwork once before, but it's like $700 for the application, so I didn't follow through.
Okay. Were you a prostitute?
No, I was
Okay.
not.
All right. Well, what are your thoughts on this then?
I mean, like I said, I think it, and I think I agree with the first girl. I think it depends also on the length of the relationship, too. But I think there's like a sweet spot. Like if you wait too long, then it's gonna seem like you're hiding it. But again, yeah, we don't exactly know the story. But I'm also a social worker, where my online presence generally has a slightly different name, so that I can't be found by clients and stuff.
Sure.
So, you try to protect your identity the best you can, but doesn't mean that somebody can't find something. But I think, like, if you are, like, really serious with this person, like, if you love them, sitting them down, like, potentially being like, hey,
Yes.
I wanted to make sure that we're in a good spot before I talk about this, because this makes me feel very vulnerable.
Hey, great thoughts. Thank you. Hopefully this will help somebody else out.
Bingo! How fun!
Last week, someone lost an eye at bingo.
Bingo what bingo?
Bingo!
The rules to listener bingo are this. You can't call yet. You have to find out what each Cat and I are looking for, but only the first person that gets through gets the bingo. So what are you looking for this morning, Kat? Anyone listening who?
Who has ever complained about someone or sent in a complaint, or you got a complaint from like a neighbor? So this homeowner in Ohio, she received complaints from other community members because she puts up her Halloween decorations a little early.
If I was disrupting somebody or, bothering people, I'm not. You could have came to me and said something like, hey, why? And I would have explained to them why I do it so early. It broke my heart because all my neighbors come and try to help me if they see me out here. My husband was diagnosed a year ago with cancer.
She just wanted to make it a little happy space.
Well, he's the one that normally does it. And she's like, it's going to take me a little bit longer. He knows what he's doing, and I don't have the skills, so it takes me a little bit longer. But the other day on our development Facebook page, the guy that does our gutters and insurance and stuff like that, if there's like a hailstorm or whatever, great guy. Someone reported him to the city because his grass wasn't looking the best. But that's because he had laid down a bunch of fertilizer, and he's like, I'm not going to mow until this day because I need my grass to be repaired. And somebody had told on it.
This is why I like living in the middle of nowhere right now.
Yeah.
I don't have any of this drama. So you're looking for anyone listening who has kind of had somebody tattle on the HOA?
Yeah, or maybe you complained about a neighbor. What was it for?
I'm looking for anyone listening who has an old person's name that really doesn't fit you. I've noticed, and it's cute to watch everybody post the pictures of their kids and when they're going back to school and stuff like that. But the one that caught me, and I'm a friend of a friend, you know how you kind of get Facebook linked up that way? And they have a first grader. And listen, I'm sure this kid is a beautiful child, full of inquiry, and may change the world one day. But this first grade boy's name is Elmer.
Yeah.
Now, I'm sure maybe it was a grandfather, a great grandfather. I'm sure. That's what I thought right away, too. This kid's going to be a glue eater. So.
Oh, you didn't think of Fudd?
No, I thought of the glue right away. But Fudd is, that's it. That's the kid's nickname already if they didn't get to him.
10 months.
So I'm looking for anyone who's got a name that just really doesn't necessarily fit. We bring Craig on as our first listener through. Craig, Kat, I'm assuming is getting the bingo here because Craig seems like a regular name.
Yep, absolutely. Mine is the whole neighbor calling in because I weed eated too much and trimmed trees on their property for them at the lake.
Oh, you did a nice thing for them, and they completely ratted you out?
Absolutely. They called. They asked me to help them out and trim some trees with my pole saw, and they were hanging on my property, and we'd eat and clean it up, and then they called and complained that I trimmed their trees.
Wow.
What do you do to this?
Nice
I mean, is that just it? Now you're done helping people, or are you just done helping these people?
I'm done helping those people.
Yeah,
for
that's
sure.
good.
Yeah.
Do you confront them, Craig? You seem like a nice guy. I'm guessing you didn't go next door and blow them up, right?
No, I would. Yeah, off the record, I would have loved to,
Yeah.
So, but yeah, it was. I told them point blank. I mean, you asked me for your help. I mean, I'm a pretty self-sufficient guy. I've got tractors and snow blowers and equipment, and even when it would snow out, I'd try to, you're on a plowed road or at the lakes, and you try to clean the shoulders up and blow it out so you don't get plowed back in. And they complained that I blew too much snow even. So,
and those people are never going to change, and I don't want you to keep trying and then keep touching that burner, because that's going to get you to the point where you don't want to help people out. But sometimes people have to learn a lesson. I say when we get one of those first dumps, maybe do everything but theirs.
Or I got even a better idea for you, Craig. You seem like a good guy, and you seem like you have a little extra time on your hands, and you want to help people out. I got a ton of trees and a new driveway that needs snow blowing.
He'll
and
pay
stuff
you
like
in
that.
beer.
I can, I mean, you and I can hook up. It could be a great relationship. We could be best friends, and you could do all the work around my place.
You know what? I do work for beer, as ironic.
I like this guy. Did you manage to get any of your bucket list items checked off this year? I'm going to guess you didn't check off either of these new ones yet.
No, because I added them as we were thinking about our Dominican trip. One of them, I want to go parasailing this year. I've never gone parasailing.
It's really, really cool.
Yeah, I think it's really cool unless something goes wrong.
I've never seen anything go wrong. I mean, I guess I've seen it on the internet, but I've never been I've been part of parasailing 3 times in my life, and I've never had anything go wrong. Now, my wife, we went the very first time on our honeymoon, and she wigged out. Like, we got up there, and she had a moment. It was just straight screaming, and I was like, I just married this broad.
Yeah.
Like, I can't. What am I going to do here?
What I envision is they're like, all right, we're going to start bringing you down. And as they lower you, they can't hear you yell, you're lowering me into a school of sharks. And they're a school, right?
They don't
but
do
like
that.
just have all these hammerheads just waiting for me as I'm being lowered into the water. So that's something I'll have to think about. But I do want to watch the Northern Lights from one of those glass igloos in Finland.
Yeah, you have to go to Iceland or something, right? Is it Finland?
Yeah, beautiful. Would be a once-in-a-lifetime trip. I want to go on a wellness spa retreat a whole weekend.
You need more than a weekend.
I want to be a secret critic for a restaurant. I want to be in there. I want to time how long it takes the waiters to get me stuff.
Would that wreck the experience, though? Because now you're just judging everything. Can't you just sit back and relax? Like, I always feel like when I go out to eat, if we go to a restaurant, it is an absolute time to suck in the aura and the atmosphere, see whoever else is there, just relax, let somebody else take care of you.
You get a free meal and you're helping a restaurant get better. I can't think of a better dining experience. And then I want to go deep sea fishing. So that would go along with the parasailing.
I want one at bat at Wrigley Field.
Oh.
I want one at bat at Wrigley Field. I don't care who's throwing.
It won't happen.
One at bat. And I think it would be best if I had one of my boys throw it to me. I think that's the biggest bucket list I have right now. Like, I'm not a big dreamer. I just, I'm pretty realistic. And I want to bring Jacob on the show here real quick. Actually, this is not Jacob. This is
Jacob
Brian.
Yeah.
Hey, Brian, you checked one off this year during the summer, right?
Oh, yeah. Actually, I went on a hot air balloon ride just by myself.
Oh, man. I would be so scared.
You didn't go with anyone else? You went by yourself?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, no, it's, you know how hard it is just to find some alone time these days? And it just occurred to me, I've seen it, in movies and stuff, just the hot air balloon ride. So I did a little investigating, and I'm like, you know what? That might be something to check out. And I went on it, and, I had a slight fear of heights, but I have much more of annoyance of people.
Yeah.
And so it was well worth it, just being up there. And, I mean, I didn't even really look down and look out all that much. I just sat there just kind of like, man, this is good, quiet.
What about the guy or the lady? Well, I'm assuming it was a guy. I don't know why I assume that somebody running a hot air balloon is always a guy. I guess in the movies I've seen it. But were you talking to that person, or was this like a complete silent thing?
No, they were a lot like a carny that just kind of minded their own business.
Yeah.
You know, they were they're in the thing, but I didn't really even have to instruct him to not to, or to leave me alone. He just seemed to kind of keep to his own. So
are you going through something? I feel like there are some things that maybe you got to talk about.
Life, I mean, I guess in general, I got my ups and my downs. Work's annoying.
Funny. That's a hot air balloon joke. Look at that. I like that.
So I was listening to this mom, and for one of these things, I was like, no big deal. Our family does this for the most. Like Derek and I share the same deodorant stick. It's not.
That's freaking nasty.
Why?
It's nasty. It's your pits, man.
I know, but okay, so let's hear what she has to say about what her family shares before you judge me, sir.
My son and husband, the boys share one. The girls share another. We all like the same scents.
She says too.
It doesn't bother us. And all of us apply it directly from the shower.
Yeah.
Mind blown that all of you people out there are getting different loofahs, different towels, different body washes, different shampoo, different hairbrushes. Are you kidding me? This is wild.
Listen, okay, fine. If you're living in a war-torn country and you don't have a supply chain, if you're living in a third world country where you got to walk 5 miles to get your water, I get that you're happy to have a stick of deodorant. Share it with everyone you want.
I'll draw a line at loofahs. That's really gross. Derek's, I don't even want to guess where it goes. He doesn't even know. He says he finds new crevices.
Dark places.
Yeah, twists and turns every week, he says, down there. He's like, I didn't even know I had this area. And I know he's exploring with a loofah. So there's no way that I would do the loofah. I would not share a hairbrush.
The deodorant isn't made for you. Are you using men's deodorant?
I love men's deodorant.
It's not pH balanced for a lady.
It doesn't matter. It works. Smell my pit. Totally works.
Your pits again.
Liam's, however, does not work for me. He uses like Old Spice, the gel, where my deodorant is the Cool Rush degree, and it works for me. So we found that, and I don't care at all, because it's like after the shower, you get out, you do your body spray.
Nasty.
And then I use his deodorant. But that works for their family. A lot of families have certain ways that they do things. What does your family do that some would think is strange? You said something before, and I thought it was really strange, where you guys use one huge basket for socks. You don't match them up. I would lose my mind.
So, but this is in the laundry room, right? It's not like a communal basket that's in the middle of our home. It's when somebody does laundry, it's just throw all the socks in there, and then when you need socks, you go get it. Like the night before, before I go to bed, I'll grab socks out of the sock thing. And that's good to go.
So no one in your family has a sock drawer.
Everybody has a sock drawer. If you want to take your socks, ball them up, and put them together and bring them to your room and put them in a drawer, that's fine.
But it won't be done otherwise.
But otherwise, they just sit in the sock basket.
So strange.
It's because sorting socks sucks. And then when you bring your pile of clothes to your room, socks get lost all over the place. They get stuck in clothes. You go to take a shirt off the rack, and there's a sock in it. It's just easier this way. And plus, we have 3 boys that all are about the same size feet. We all wear the same size socks. So I just take whatever I want.
Huh. Yeah, no, I couldn't function like that. But we do the deodorant. Growing up in my family, if somebody were to know, like, our sleeping arrangements, they probably would have thought that was weird.
Just wherever you lay your head?
Wherever we were at the time we got sleepy is where we slept.
How did you get up on time for things then?
We'd just hear my mom get up.
Oh, well.
And then she'd be like clanging pots and pans before she'd head to work, and she would always leave because she was a teacher, had to get there early, and then we'd get up and start doing our stuff. I don't ever remember having an alarm clock. I never had that.
We also have a basket in our home where everyone throws their keys, their sunglasses, packs of gum, wallets.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's a collect-all. Like when you walk in your house and you want to empty your pockets, we've got this big thing that's a collect-all of all of it. Fishing licenses are in there.
Yeah.
Like anything you would need. Like I have a cigar lighter in there. Like it's just...
Derek suggested the other day, I let him go shopping with me the other day, but Liam's been begging for a new tongue scraper. And
why don't you just brush your tongue?
They had a pack. Well, I do that too, but it really does make a difference when you can get way back there. But there was a pack of 3 or a pack of 1. Derek's like, just get 1. I said, but there's 3 of us. I am not going to use somebody else's tongue grime.
That's the worst.
That would be the worst. I got a mouth thing, so I couldn't do that. But the deodorant, I get it. So If there's something that your family does that you think other people would deem strange, I'd love to hear about it.
I would notice immediately if my wife started using my deodorant, because I'd go to hug her or kiss her and I'd be like, why do you smell like I smell? Like, that's
so what?
Nasty. I don't want to smell another dude.
Would you rather say, why do you smell like Campbell's soup?
Yes, I really would.
You would rather have her
why do you
have
smell
BO
like a guy? Yeah.
Than a guy?
I would.
That's weird.
At least it's a natural flavor.
Okay.
The whole sharing deodorant, it's your pits, man.
Yeah, I'm okay with it.
It's like saying we're going to save on wet wipes and just turn them around. We'll put them in a little basket after we wipe our butt. That's the extent of that. The big question is, if your friend was dating somebody who just wasn't attractive, is that any of your business?
It would not be. And it's happened.
That's
and why would I ever do that?
We got a text from Jervon, and I said, you absolutely have got to tell us what you're talking about and come on the show. So I appreciate you sparing a couple of minutes. Tell everybody what's going on here, okay?
My friend, really, really, really likes this person, like almost to the point where, they're falling in love.
Yeah.
I'm not going to say anything. I'm not. But as soon as there's some hesitation, then I might drop the bomb. Most likely I will drop the bomb because I'm just like, okay, get out of there.
So you're not going to wreck his flow here if you see that he's really into her, but as soon as you figure out that he might not be so into her, you're going to say, hey, your girlfriend's ugly?
I'm going to say, hey, you could do better. I'm just gonna,
oh, my God.
If you're not really into it, then just so you know, I've seen you do better, and you deserve better.
You can't undo that, Jervon. Once he knows that you think that his girlfriend is not physically attractive, he's going to always think that. What if they, get right again and they're, solid? He's always going to have that in the back of their mind when you're all together. Oh, this guy thinks that the woman I'm with is ugly.
Then I guess it's simple. Just don't date someone that's, ugly, I guess.
You can't go back on that.
You absolutely cannot undo a thought that you put out there.
When your sister was dating, you'd meet a guy. Did you ever tell her what you honestly thought about those guys?
After. You always wait until after when they're saying the bad stuff. But then you can never undo it. So you got to think, in the long run, is there a chance that they're going to get back together? But that is it's just not a nice thing to do. What are you going to gain from doing that?
Part of it is, listen, we all see things in relationships with different colored glasses. Sometimes your bro sees something you don't. I think they probably should say so. I'm not saying it's based on looks. What if you knew that guy was a drug addict? Would you say something right then?
That's what you're comparing?
Yeah.
Somebody that is high up on meth.
So your sister,
somebody that
your
didn't
sister's
get the
dating,
best
and you meet
genes?
this guy, and you know that he does coke all the time. Would you tell her?
Yes.
Yeah, but if he's butt ugly, you wouldn't say anything.
Are you okay?
You're looking out for her best interest.
What kind of scenarios are these? They're not even on the same wavelength.
They all boil down to her best interest. If your best friend or your sister is dating somebody super ugly, like really fugly, do you say something?
Beauty is in the eye of the beholder.
And that's fine.
Maybe
they can
you are
say,
attracted to other things about the person. They're hilarious. They have a lot of money. Both of those valid reasons.
Those are the
to be
two
with
ones
somebody.
you go for, apparently. Just talked to Jervon a couple of seconds ago, and it all kind of revolves around the fact that he's not going to say anything right now to his friend, but he's prepared to tell him if this relationship doesn't work out that he's dating an ugly girl. And Kat said, how can he even do that?
Then I guess it's simple. Just don't date someone that's, ugly, I guess.
For the record, I think there's a giant double standard here. I think a girl will tell their best girlfriend, he's really not cute.
Then that's not a good girlfriend.
I think women will do this, and then they don't think it's bad. But if a guy says, listen, I think you could do better.
I think if it's a character flaw, women will speak up. If we know that maybe he has gotten into trouble with his hands, or that he's kind of like a no good, lazy guy, we would definitely probably voice our opinion because we want success for our friends. But if somebody is not attractive, it's just not a nice thing to do.
Look at Jennifer. She said, my best friend asked me if I thought her husband was attractive when we first met. I said, nope. And she said, we could still be best friends.
Yeah, but that's a weird question, Jennifer, for your friend to ask you. You know, like, but I guess I've said, oh my God, do you think he's cute? And then they might say, he's not my type.
They lie to you.
Say he's not your type. That's like a nicer way of saying he's all yours.
Don't lie to people. Megan, I think you had the truest statement ever. Ugly people deserve love too. Leave them the hell alone.
Yeah. Get that on a mug, girl.
Heidi, good morning. You said that this has you heated.
Good morning.
Thoughts?
First of all, I think that says a lot more about Javon than anything.
Yes, that's what I was thinking too.
Super shallow, and there's a lot more that matters. Now, if somebody's asking you, hey, do you think he's attractive or not? I mean, I guess that's a little bit of a different scenario. But just coming right out with your opinion on it, what the heck does it matter what Javon thinks anyways?
Right.
Look,
A lot of people care what other people think, unfortunately.
His friend might not use it, like keep it at like the weight of it and break up with her because his friend thinks that she's ugly. But you don't want that in the back of your mind, that your friends don't think who you're with is attractive when you do. That's not a good feeling.
No, it's probably going to deteriorate their friendship.
Yeah.
So
How about after the breakup? Like, let's say they don't make it. They don't live happily forever after. Do you say, geez, I'm glad you dumped her?
She wasn't even cute. I think not.
I mean, it's still shallow.
But, okay.
It's still shallow, but also we say it. But, you know, if somebody cares about somebody, how dare you, if you're their friend, insult that person?
I know. I know
you're saying it's shallow, and I'm not disagreeing with you, all right? But first off, I mean, what's the thing that attracts us to somebody first off? It's usually looks, right?
Probably, yeah.
Yeah, initially maybe, but there's obviously a lot more that goes into it when it comes into falling in love.
Yeah, I mean, you have to be smart, funny, witty, super smart to get by on the looks that I've gotten by on, you know, to be able to
say smart twice.
Well, all right, that's a smart way to do that. Okay. Thanks, Heidi. Have a great morning.
You too. Thank you.
Japan is now offering, and they're always like way beyond us. You know, they're always coming up with great things and then sending it our way. So I appreciate this because I don't know how I would do if I had to quit something. I don't know how I quit my last job to come here.
You really don't?
No, if I think about it, you faxed me the paper. I signed it, faxed it back to you. And then I think, I walked down the hallway and told my boss who I was sleeping with, I said, no, I'm done here. This is my 2 weeks. And he was like, sounds good. Shut the door.
That was it?
He said, sounds good. And shut the door.
I had been passed up for a management job at the last radio station I was at. Mm-hmm. And the morning show that I had started did really, really well right out of the gate. And we were only about a year into it. And I'd gotten passed up for another job. And I walked into my boss's office and I said, hey, here's my 2 weeks notice. And he goes, you're leaving? I go, yeah, I get to, kind of program this radio station in St. Cloud. And he goes, I didn't even know you wanted to do that. I go, I just applied for the same position here less than 6 weeks ago, and you turned me down, even though I was the one with the most longevity and clearly the most qualified, and you didn't give me a reason why you turned me down for that. So how can this be a surprise to you? Mm-hmm. And then he goes, oh, well, how much vacation time do you have left? And I said, well, if you add up all my sick time and everything, I have 3.5 weeks. He goes, oh, you can just be done today.
Oh, nice.
And I said, you got it.
You got it.
And I grabbed all my stuff, and that was at like 8 o'clock in the morning. My morning show got over at 10, and at 10 o'clock I split, and this was on like a Wednesday. And then our general manager had called, and he goes, geez, that was handled wrong. I'm really, really sorry. Can you do the rest of the week? Because they didn't have anybody to do a morning show the next day. I was a one-man band.
Some people are just, they're so quick to just pull the plug and not think about all the things that will be in the wake, And
then they go, well, hey, we're having a big Halloween party at Old Chicago. Could we make that your going away party? I'm like, well, I can't compete with Halloween, but sure, if it means a couple of free drinks. And I legitimately started this job. That was a Friday, and I started this job on the Monday. They moved me down here. I had a mattress, a TV, a quesadilla maker.
Wow.
And they gave me an apartment until our house sold, and it was good to go. That's why I still love being here.
Well, I think this company is made for people like me, where I have so many things that I would want to say when I quit that day. This is this, and this is that, and that's why I'm quitting. But now you can hire someone in Japan to say all that for you while you sit back. It's kind of like when insurance, you want a different insurance and they'll just call that insurance and take it over. So you don't have to call them and make up an excuse. But I want to know, out of the two of us, I think I would take a more ginger route and just keep everything, on the up and up. Nobody's going to get hurt. You, however, I think would be very abrasive.
I think we need to make a statement. When you leave a job, it should be well known why you're leaving.
Think about your future, though.
I'm not saying go in there with a rifle. I'm saying make it clear what that company hasn't done for you and why you're leaving. And number one, it should be in that company's benefit to listen to you because they can make it better for the people that are still there. And you know how hard it is to fill a job these days.
Yeah. So out of the two of us, who would you choose?
Barb, who would you choose?
I would have to say probably JJ because he's kind of got that sarcastic attitude like I do. So it's like I'd want to give it a good, I'm getting the hell out of here.
Yeah. So you want to go out with a bang, right? You don't want to just go out classy.
Bang.
Okay.
If you quit your job, it should be a memorable moment because you've probably got something else better to move on to, right?
And they probably did something to piss you off that you're quitting.
I feel like you're a day away from dumping on your boss's desk.
You're not quitting tomorrow, are you?
I'm glad I'm a stay-at-home mom. There's no quitting this job.
They're just going to grow out of it, and then what do you do?
They say that's the best job you'll ever have.
I mean, is there an exit plan?
It is super rewarding.
When they get older, what are you going to do?
I'm not sure. I've been a bartender for 13 years, and I did drug and alcohol testing, so I'm not 100% sure what I would even do.
But you got something to fall back on. I like that. Our main goal this morning is to get extra years on your life. Kat has found one way that is now scientifically proven, or at least guesstimated, to add years to your longevity.
It's good for your health, and it's because it releases the chemical in your brain that makes you happy. If there's a show out there that makes you happy, some people are shamed into rewatching stuff, and they say reruns, watching your favorite shows, like Seinfeld is always on, Parks and Rec is always on.
The Office.
The Office. If that's your favorite show, that you should watch those reruns, even if you have seen them and you could recite the lines with them. They say that it's actually really good for your health.
My wife and I, every night before bed, we watch a rerun. Sometimes it's the Wonder Years, which I really, really love. Hulu has got a billion different reruns on it, and we just watch at least one episode as they're kind of winding down. It makes me feel good. I wake up feeling better in the morning.
Who'd have thunk? This is great news for Derek because he can't get enough of King of Queens, which is one that Carrie and Doug are, myself and Derek, we have had this exact conversation.
Hey, do you know what the scissors are?
Doug, we have lived in this house for 9 years. Okay? The scissors have always been in the same place, and yet you continue to ask me where they are. Not to mention the spatula, the pot holders, the pens. Well, I'll tell you something, honey. I have been a tour guide in my own kitchen long enough. Too many precious moments have been wasted showing you where things are. Just learn. I mean, what if I died? How would you flip a pancake? How would you ever cut anything ever again? Would you just sit here weeping and soiling yourself until somebody came in to help you?
You know how many times I've told my family over the last, 2 or 3 years, guys, when I die, you guys aren't going to be able to do this. Somebody needs to learn how to do this right now. Like use a drill or a hammer or caulking.
Trisha's new boyfriend will have all those skills. Don't even worry about it.
We've been watching something over again that every night makes at least one of us laugh out loud.
Yeah.
And if you never watched it from the beginning, you missed out on probably the greatest ever.
I'd like to check in, please.
Oh, my God, where did you come from?
Oh, and are the pillows feather or foam?
Yes.
Sorry, which one?
I don't care.
I'm sorry.
I don't know.
I was just asking.
And I'm very much looking forward to the moment when that stops.
Love Schitt's Creek.
Well.
Enjoy your stay.
Hey, no cutting. Excuse me. This is my store. Who are you? I'm Darlene's cousin. Who the are you?
Whoa.
My God.
My God. If you want to just laugh so hard until you cry, just pull up their blooper reel. I mean, it will just bring you joy. But to know that reruns are actually good for your health makes me very happy. So
last night, by the way, was the one where the where Bob's brother dies, and then they got Bob who, and then the guys. All of a sudden, David wakes up and he hears some noise, and he looks outside, and she goes, "What is that?" And he goes, Oh my God. Some hillbilly townies are here. Like,
David, Alexis. So many people writing in. Breaking Bad would be one. Kim says.
Yeah, I've been watching Better Call Saul in bits and pieces.
Yeah.
And it doesn't make me feel a little bit better, but I'm just overly interested.
Corinna, Derek is along that line too. Yellowstone, he's really gotten into that. Lisa says Friends, but Dean, you're my people. He says Curb Your Enthusiasm.
Oh,
it never, ever gets old, that show. I love it.
Henry, got one for us that we should be watching?
My go-to comfort show is MASH. Actually.
I love MASH.
Said no one ever.
Yeah.
No one's ever said that.
Funny. Radar's my guy.
You know, it's nice. It's good. It's fun. It's easy going, right?
Are you? I can only assume in your household you're the only one that's rerunning MASH, or are you getting a new generation on board?
Well, I'm trying to insert a little bit of good TV into the people around my house. A lot of the stuff these days that you see is not that great, but I mean, there's just something so comforting about just flipping on MASH and just being with the boys.
And Hot Lips, right?
Yeah, and Hot Lips. Yeah.
I was 16, and we were coming back from a baseball tournament, and we were on these backcountry roads, and we rolled up onto a pretty bad car accident. It was really, really weird because my dad and I both, I'd had a first responder class in high school, and my dad was a military guy, so he had a ton of kind of first responder training. And it was crazy because we rolled up to it, and one car was in the ditch over here, and one car was in the ditch over here. And we both just split and went to help. And the guy that I went to help was a doctor at one of the big hospitals in the Twin Cities.
Yeah.
And his family was from around that area. The guy my dad went to help was a farmhand at my ex-girlfriend's farm. So I knew this guy. And unfortunately, he had passed from really bad head injury.
Oh.
Go to this funeral a few days later, and they had bottles of Michelob Golden Draft in the casket. And
Can you get the visual out of your head? I feel like the way that you describe it, I would see it if I closed my eyes.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
It stood out so much to me, and I was only 16, and the only other funerals you're really ever at when you're that young are usually grandparents or, great aunts, something like that. And they're always so, when you get to a certain age, there's never really anything funky with the funeral. It's the first time I'd seen anything that was surprising at a funeral. And I wanted to ask the question, have you ever been to a funeral where you were just like, it was really surprising that this happened?
Well, one was he died very young. It was a family friend, and his favorite dog, it was a black lab. They had the dog stand next to the casket the whole time. And actually, I think they tried to have him leave, and he wouldn't. So it was one of those loyalty dog moments. And that was a really, really tough funeral to go to. Like, I've known him my whole life. And just to see him there and still so young, I think he was
Did you try and play with the dog, or it just stood there stoic?
It just kind of stood there next to this guy's parents. But the other one was my ex. He died of alcoholism, and kind of a similar thing, and I thought it was in very poor taste, but his friends who always wanted to drink with him, they brought Captain, they brought Jack, and they put it in his casket. I'm like, you guys don't realize that this is what ended his very, very young life? This guy was like 28.
So I threw this out, and I wanted to ask what was surprising at the funeral. So right away, Michaela, walking up to an open casket to see my great-grandma at my great-grandma's funeral, my 4-year-old nephew asked me why she looked like cake with all the makeup on.
Yeah.
Now I can't look at anybody with an open casket the same way again. My second cousin, says Jen Ray, started handing out at my great-grandma's obituary the cards saying, extra, extra, grandma's dead. Read all about it.
God. Everybody handles grief a different way. Some people turn to humor. Some people get really quiet. And some people just need a talking to. You got to have some sense in you.
Went to a funeral for a friend's father. Someone forgot to set their phone to silent.
Oh.
Do you know what the sound was when all of a sudden his phone went off?
Don't even. Feel Good Inc.
The very start to Feel Good Inc. At a funeral.
That ruined the song for everybody that was there that day. I have a really sad story. A coworker of mine about 20 years ago, before I worked here. She had a sister who lost a child that was about 4 years old. And his brother, who is younger than him, put a bunch of toys in so his brother could play. And it was just so heart-wrenching. Kids don't understand at that young age, you know?
Oh, my God.
What?
I'm reading this. This is the worst one. Judy, I'm very sorry for your loss. She said, funeral for my 17-year-old son who died suddenly. We had a black casket, but provided silver Sharpies for all his friends and family to write messages to him, which I think is a cool idea.
Yeah, I don't think that's a bad idea.
Until several friends drew you-know-whats on the backside of the casket.
How do you get like that? How do you become that way? And multiple people, too. That's the most disturbing part.
My God.
I would review footage. I would go hand out some knuckle sandwiches for sure. Can you even
What
imagine?
would you even do?
I don't even know.
I don't know. Listen, I'm not a proponent of violence.
I think that would be the day.
But if somebody draws a wiener on your kid's casket.
Yeah. Someone's uncles and friends are going to pay you a visit.
I think at one point, right, you let everything calm down, let the grass start to grow over the grave. But I would never forget that.
No.
I would see that person, and it would be that one time where you just had a bad day, and you see him at the grocery store, and you decide you're going to beat them until they're close to death, and then do something really bad with a 2-liter bottle of Coke.
Okay.
That's how I would end that whole thing.
Like make them chug it real fast.
Yeah,
to get the
that's
burp.
exactly what I was trying to get to.